Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
I got to go like this and tell him I miss him. I want him back. Lord, bring him back. And that ain't going to happen.
A father is urging state leaders to take another look at his son's case. It's been 2 years now since an unarmed Devil's Lake man was killed by an officer. That officer was fired but never charged. Valley News Team's Joshua Peguero spoke to the family, who says with the recent killing of George Floyd, their son may finally get justice for his death.
For nearly 2 years, Terry Fuller has been following the same morning routine.
I break down every day because of this. We have no closure. We need closure, we need justice.
He visits the site where his 26-year-old son Daniel Fuller died on July 5th, 2018 at the hands of former Devil's Lake police detective Brandon Potts.
We need the state, the Attorney General, to step up and reopen this case and charge Potts.
This is dashcam video of that incident. According to investigators, Potts struck Fuller in the back of the head 3 to 4 times with his gun before it discharged.
There's so much tension in my family, so much anger in my family that we don't get together anymore.
Potts was fired and an autopsy ruled Fuller's death as a homicide. But Ramsey County State's Attorney Carrie Agotnis never brought Potts' case before a grand jury. Agotnis says Potts had probable cause to use deadly force and there's nothing to indicate the shot was intentional. Officers were reportedly responding to numerous calls, one of an armed person and the other of an attempted burglary. Fuller initially complied with officers' demands by putting his hands behind his back. He reportedly then knocked Potts down to the ground. Terry's son never had a gun.
I got a young man here put in the grave by a corrupt cop and a corrupt system. Nobody wants to help.
After he visits the execution site, Terry drives to the cemetery about 5 minutes away.
We need justice for Danny. I'm sorry, he's white as snow, but color should not make a difference.
On Saturday, he lit fireworks near his son's gravesite. It's one of the things Fuller loved. In Devil's Lake, Joshua Peguero, Valley News Live.
We reached out to the Devil's Lake Police Department, and they say due to an ongoing civil lawsuit, they cannot comment. Former officer Brandon Potts is suing the city for wrongful termination. Terry Fuller says he's collecting signatures to recall the state's attorney. A Fargo man was arrested early this morning after he allegedly pointed a knife at a woman and chased her. Just before 1 this morning, police were called to the 1600 block of 32nd Avenue South. A woman says when she arrived at her car, she saw her ex-boyfriend, 52-year-old Timothy Lightfoot, get out of the car holding a knife. The woman says Lightfoot chased her and was verbally threatening her. Lightfoot was arrested for 2 counts of terrorizing and attempted aggravated domestic. Strong thunderstorms interrupted the afternoon for some of us. Let's find out about that and this evening. Here's Justin with our first alert forecast. Hey, Justin.
Thank you, Andrea, and good evening, everybody. Yes, most of us staying dry right now. Most of us having mostly sunny skies, especially into the northern valley out toward the Devil's Lake Basin. But some areas had some isolated shower and thunderstorm activity. Let's take a look at where they are right now. First off, we have some thunderstorms in portions of Lemoore, Ransom, and Sargent County. Also, another thunderstorm has developed here in Lake of the Woods County, and the strongest storm so far. And the good news is it is weakening, moving from Clay County into Otter Tail County right now, from Barnesville to Pelican Rapids. Maybe some lightning with this and some brief heavy rain. Temperatures around the region ranging from the mid-70s to near 80 degrees, with the wind trying to flip around to more of a northwesterly direction. That's a cooler flow, wind speeds around 10 to 15 miles per hour. So temperatures falling back into the lower 70s as we go through the evening as we turn mostly clear. We'll tell you about our next chance of some severe thunderstorms that's coming up later in the newscast.
Okay, thanks, Justin. We now know the name of the 16-year-old boy who died in an ATV crash last week. The Polk County Sheriff's Office says 16-year-old Jude Olson of Fertile, Minnesota, was pronounced dead Thursday evening. They say he lost control of his ATV and hit a tree. The crash happened on 435th Street Southwest, just west of the Sandhill River. With more eyes and criticism on officers in the U.S. now more than ever, the Grand Forks Police Department has put out a survey for the community in hopes of improving their interactions with the public. However, police say the survey's timing has nothing to do with what's happening across the country, saying the questionnaire is done every couple years to make sure officers are still better serving the community.
If it's something where they want to see us in one particular area of town more so than previous, or different arterial roadways or minor roadways, comments are welcome. We want to see the perspective of our community.
He adds the survey is anonymous and is open until early September, adding that you don't need to have interacted with officers in order to fill it out. You can find a link for the survey on our VNL News app. Just click on this story. The West Fargo Fire Department says they responded to several calls for service involving fireworks over the 4th of July weekend. One call happened shortly after 3 yesterday morning in the 2100 block of 14th Street West. The fire department says used fireworks were being stored in a plastic wheelbarrow in a garage, and that caused a significant amount of smoke damage to an attached garage. In another call at 1010 Larkin Lane, fireworks were being stored in a truck bed and caused a vehicle fire. Between Friday and Saturday, West Fargo police responded to 63 fireworks calls. In North Dakota, 33 new cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed, bringing the total of active cases to 419. Of the new cases, 17 were reported in Cass County. No new deaths have been linked to COVID-19. The death toll still sits at 80. There are 22 patients currently hospitalized. Over 3,300 are listed as recovered. In Minnesota, 434 new cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed, and 3 more deaths are linked to the illness. In total, there have been 1,474 deaths due to COVID-19. There are currently 258 patients hospitalized and 3,188 active cases in Minnesota. Nearly 34,000 people are listed as recovered. 4 years to the day a police officer shot and killed a driver during a traffic stop. Minnesota updates its driver's manual with the goal of protecting drivers and police when a driver has a gun in the vehicle. A police officer shot and killed Philando Castile outside Minneapolis on July 6, 2016, during a traffic stop. Video of the encounter shows Castile telling the officer he had a gun permit and was armed. Castile's mother, Valerie, pressed the Minnesota Department of Public Safety to update the state's driver's manual with guidance on what to do if there is a gun in a vehicle, with drivers being told to keep their hands on the steering wheel and inform the officer about the weapon.
So I think that this updated manual is helpful for the police officers and the community as well, because at the end of the day, we all want to go home.
The officer who shot and killed Philando Castile was charged with manslaughter and reckless discharge of a firearm. He went to trial and was found not guilty. A federal judge has given the Dakota Access Pipeline 30 days to shut down. The court ruled that more environmental review must happen before its expansion and use can continue. The judge said this move was the only appropriate remedy. He says the Corps of Engineers did not sufficiently evaluate the environmental impacts of the pipeline. We'll continue to follow this story, and we'll have the very latest on ValleyNewsLive.com and also right here on Valley News Live tonight. Voters in North Dakota may soon be able to make changes to the way they cast their ballots. The group, North Dakota Voters First, says they have submitted enough signatures to Secretary of State Al Jaeger's office to get the constitutional measure on the November ballot. Jaeger has 35 days to review those petitions. The measure includes an introduction of ranked choice voting. That's a system where if a candidate receives the majority of votes, they win. If no candidate gets a majority on the first round of voting, the candidate with the fewest votes is disqualified, and any vote for that candidate would go to the voter's next choice. It would also put all primary candidates on the same ballot, extend the time allowed for military members to vote overseas, and mandate an audit system with paper ballots. For more on the measure, you can find this story on our website, valleynewslive.com. The COVID-19 pandemic may have taken a toll on your credit card. Next on Valley News Live at 6, from moving debt to avoiding fees, we've got ideas to get your finances back on track.
And no more 90s for high temperatures. We were into the upper 70s to mid 80s today, but we're going to keep more warm weather and unfortunately more storm chances next week. We'll have the details coming up.